Hello, so today I'm going to go through how to make an adaptive book using Microsoft Sway. We often use adapted books when we're reading through different stories and we provide them to our students using BoardMaker, but I want to show you a different interactive way that you can use Microsoft Sway to do something very similar. And we're going to use the ELA Essential Element RL 3.2, which is associating details with events in stories from diverse cultures. And the story that I chose to show you an example of is Biblioburro. And I had created two different types of sways, which is your option when you're going through and creating them. And I found Biblioburro on YouTube. And you can see here's a read aloud. There's a couple of different read alouds. And it's based off a true story. So there's also a video of the actual Biblioburros in Colombia. So you can go here, you can click on those, you can show your students the video, and then you can create a sway. So here's one example of a Microsoft Sway, and this is called Stacks. And this is what I prefer to use for my students who are alternately assessed. I like it because it only presents a little snapshot of something at a time, as opposed to a whole list of things, which is what the storyline does. This is just how I present it. You definitely know your students best. So whatever works best in your classroom is what you're going to use. So you'll see as you go through in the stacks, you have your title page right here. And then you can go through stacks, click on it, and it'll bring it to the back. So here's our real picture of our Biblioburro. And then I have my text. And it says, deep in the jungles of Colombia, there lives a man who loves his books. His name is Luis. Now you can see here, I have some highlighting. And the reason why I highlighted it is because we are working on details within the text, right? So here I highlighted the setting and I highlighted a character. And that's what I wanted my students to focus in on for the details, right? So I wanted them to be able to identify where we are and who are we talking about. So that's what I highlighted. And I'm going to show you when we create our own Microsoft Sway how you can emphasize words or accent words. You can also put in as many pictures as you want, right? So as many visuals that will support your students. You could probably even put in a BoardMaker icon if you know that that's what your students need or they're using their AAC devices, right? So here we have a painting, a picture, a Biblioburro. Then I have more text, which I got from as I read the read aloud, right? So I got it from here when I played it. And I just typed it right into my Microsoft Sway. And again, I'm focusing on characters, and then I wanted to focus on their feelings. So I have Diana grumbles. Then, right after that, I found another picture to help my students understand what grumble might look like. And I added a little note that says grumbles, upset, or frustrated. So this is my example of stacks. You can see I go through, there's more text, I have some images, and some more text, right? Then, storyline you'll see it starts moving if you leave it. You scroll down and it's very much like a web page. So our students are very familiar with this. This might be a great way to engage your students. They may not even feel like they're reading a book, right? They're really used to looking online for web pages and different websites. So this might be really awesome for them. So again, deep in the jungles of Colombia, there lives a man who loves books. His name is Luis. I again emphasized my setting, my person, my character, and I have some pictures. This looks a little different. And again, whatever works best for your students is what you're going to use. So there's a lot of adaptations you can do and a lot of different designs. You can make it text heavy if you'd like. I have over here that a burro is donkey in Spanish, so we explain that. And then my real life Biblioburro, right? And we have Luis, Alfabeto, and all my pictures. And I go through my story with presentations of my pictures and my text for them to go through. So this is a storyline, and then this is your stacks. Those are two different ways that you can create Microsoft Sways. And so you very simply just go right into open up Microsoft Sway from all your different apps in Microsoft, and you just click on it, and it'll open right up to where you can go in and start to type. And I'm going to show you. You could put your title right here. So our title was Biblioburro, and we're going to type that in. And then we're going to look for pictures. And what's really awesome about using Microsoft Sway is whatever word you type in, it automatically starts searching for you. So you'll have a bunch of different options, and this aligns you right to like some Google image searches. So you have a ton of options right here. You don't really even have to go that far. And then you could pull in whatever image you want, and that'll be your title slide. As you're going through, You then can decide right here, do you want to keep going as your storyline or do you want to make it a stack, right? So if we choose our stacks, which definitely seems to be a little easier for alternately assessed students because it only presents a little piece at a time, you have an option to add a picture or you can actually type into there, right? So we can have our picture here and you'll see we're going through and now we have an option for text, image, or if there's something we want to upload. So we're going to put in a sentence and we're going to say, Diana is angry at her husband. Because that's what she was in the book, right? She was a little upset. He had too many books lying around the house. So if I'm going through and I know that I want my students to be focusing on details and I pick the characters, I'm going to highlight this text right here and I'm going to emphasize it. So Diana, she's angry. That's another thing that's very important because we're talking about feelings and details of our characters. So I may not want to emphasize it because it's not a character, but I'm going to accent it. So then I will have two different ways to identify or have my students be able to cue into what it is that I'm talking about and asking them for, right? So Diana is angry at her husband. And anytime you want to add another little slide to your stack, you just go down here, you choose text, image, or if you want to upload something, and you can search for anything. So we're going to put angry. We'll have a few people who will pop up that are angry, and we can add in whatever we want, and we can say angry over here and say frustrated, upset. So right, we can give them some synonyms. And then here, these are all the stacks. You keep going along, making it as text heavy or as image heavy as you need. And you can also break it up, right? It doesn't have to be that big. It could be a very short story. It could be modified. And this is a really awesome way to adapt your text. Another thing you can do is you can change the design. So if we don't want a background that is too busy for our students, because that could be a little distracting, you can just start off with a very basic white background. And you saw that I had some different ones. There's all these different options. They're just built in. You can make it as different as you want, and it'll just change some of the text. It'll change some of the background. Whatever you'd like, right? So it's a really great option to have that so that you can go through and then play it for your students. So again, this is just one different way that you can adapt books for your students. I know that we use Boardmaker all the time. We can definitely keep using that. That is something that for sure we can add in as we're going through, right? Like if we wanted to add in one of those images down here, perhaps of a Boardmaker slide. We can definitely do that as well, right? So I just wanted to give you some different ways to think about adapting text and using it in your virtual classroom, in addition to our Boardmaker slides that we often use to kind of increase some options for our students and give them different ways to present material. So after watching a video, maybe you want to go through and do a little read together as a group with the students. You know, they can break up into groups. You can have your paraprofessionals break up into groups and do it. You can even level your books, making one a little more text heavy and one more visually supported. So I hope this was really informative for you guys. I hope that you can use it in your virtual classrooms when you're teaching remotely. And I hope that you guys will have fun reading various texts and use Microsoft Sway when doing it.